All right. It says we're live. I think we're live. We got another episode of Only Crons tonight. If you're hanging out, appreciate you. If you're already here, appreciate you. We got another full house. We got a lot of things to talk about when it comes to Necrons, obviously, because we were surprised again with another new model, Mr. Nekrosor himself. So obviously we're going to be talking about that tonight. And also we are very excited because we feel like we need to interact with you guys a little bit more, answer some of your questions, answer some of your frustrations, you know, whether it's rules, whether it's tactics, whether it's maybe your list. Drop your questions tonight. We will be here to answer them throughout, but probably most likely at the end. We'll just like batch answer them. But other than that, let's freaking get going here. But apparently we got Steven and also our new Canoptic Satan that hasn't come out yet. It was in Legends, but it's going to get re-released. And you listen over here with his new birthday present.
I don't have any Necrons, but I got the best.
Man, I ain't got no Necron
definitely
plushies, man.
Because he is adorable.
Oh, I love his scarab. That is the best scarab ever.
Dude, I can't compete. How
they're
are
releasing all the new Necron merch.
Dude, all of it, man. All of it, man. I gotta figure out some sort of Only Crons logo and then start getting these hats going, you know?
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what we got. That's what we gotta do for
Decker already bringing up my Silent King Overwatch. I'm like, yes. Like when he just back to back is like, 6-5 damage. And I was just like, oh my god.
Don't worry, Steven. We're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it, man. You're gonna have your moment. All right, you're gonna have your moment. But first, we must talk about Nekrosor. All right. Yes. Obviously, he looks freaking badass. Shocked. I was like shocked we get another model. It does look like he is on a pretty big base. Like it looks like he's on a Xeris size base. If I'm not mistaken.
I swear, if he's strength 4 or something stupid, I'm gonna be so mad.
So, I mean, he don't got no weapons. Okay, here I'll start it off. My first initial question with this guy. Obviously, I think there are so many different directions with his lore and everything else as far as rules that he could potentially have. I think the most interesting is him obviously having that little Satan shard like on the back of his back where, I mean, if he's within 6 inches of a Satan after one dies on a 2-up, they get back up, you know?
Oh yeah, that should definitely be the rule.
That should definitely be a rule, with half wins remaining. I mean, why not, man?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we need to, I mean, why not?
But I like how he has one strong hand and one like little.
His my strong hand.
Yeah,
he does. He has a strong hand.
I mean, I feel like we'll have I'm sure he'll have like a main attack like Xeris. Then it looks like extra attacks. He's got like hopefully 5 or 6 main attacks, and then like I don't know, like 4 to 6 extra attacks or something. Would be kind of cool.
What if he has like a subterranean kind of like concept where he can come out and do like a 6-inch charge from Deep Striker with Ophidians?
Nah, do it with Scorpex, dude.
I want it to be Scorpex, but his body just makes it scream. And we as Necrons, we've been asking for we've been asking for an Ophidian character leader. Like, I feel like this is that answer.
Yeah, I just worry. I think the problem with the Ophidians, though, it's like the strength 4, it just really holds them back. Where it's like
maybe he gives them +1 to wounds.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. Ophidians get pretty cool if they get +1 to wound.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. I totally.
Especially in Awaken, all of a sudden you make them strength 5 with +1 to wound, and now you're talking.
I totally agree. The possibilities are endless. I feel like what they could do with that guy.
I think he should have like multiple rows of extra attacks. Like maybe he's like the first guy to get like 3, because he gets like his main attacks, which is either like his big claw and his little
extra,
and then he has he should have like extra attacks because he's got like the tail whips, like the little tails, and then he has the like gun blades too. So he should like he should get like a lot of attacks. Like
if he goes with Ophidians, he probably buffs them substantially. If he goes with Scorpix, which I doubt, he'll probably give them a interesting buff. I think that it's more than likely that he's going to be an Illuminor Xerez version, where he runs solo. Hopefully he gives Lone Op to himself while he's within some Scorpic or Destroyer, Flayed One's units. And then if not, I hope that maybe he gets the Bellicor treatment, like I said prior in our earlier chat, where it's like he gives 18-inch Lone Op to all Scorpic units within 6 inches of him, which is something it needs. I mean, Bellicor can do it. I think that we can have a Necron unit that can do it.
We used to have an aura +1 attack. I missed that on Rock.
Yeah, I would be. I'm kind of thinking that like I want some sort of like almost like a Xeris because but I am like more hyped about this model than I have been like for like a lot of things because I feel like this could be like a complete shift in the army. Because he could potentially like unlock like so many different play styles, even in our like even if we weren't getting new detachments. Like if he just came out and he gave like I'm kind of hoping for like a whole board buff because like I just want to go like monkey brain and not have to be within 6 inches or 3 inches all the time of everything. I just want to like he's on the board so my destroyers get +1 AP or something. Like, that's what I'm hoping for. But also if he's just like a solo infantry character, all of a sudden he's awesome in Awakened. We all agree that the solo Xeris in Star Shatter, even without the rezzing, is like crazy good. So it's like all of a sudden he's like viable there. So I'm like really excited to see what he does.
And if he buffs combat, which is what it looks like he will, the idea of even an Awaken is interesting because of the +1 strength, +1 AP, and so like you start even getting like if he gives an aura buff, even Race all of a sudden at 622 or 722, and if he gets some other buff, whether it be a lethal or sustain or something, it starts to get really interesting at that point too. Like whatever buff he may give, or advance in charge or something. I know we've all kind of talked about it'd be nice to have advance in charge somewhere in our entire codex somewhere. So that's what I want the most probably is advance in charge. I want one unit to be whether it's Wraiths or Ophidians to have advance in charge. My prediction is advance in charge and precision. So I'm gonna stick with that.
Yeah. Or like something like since it is like Pyro brings up here, like an aura buff of like the destroyer or the flare virus. Like maybe your unit takes like a leadership test, like it's something like a leadership test where you take D3 wounds. If you fail it and like you get infected with a flare virus, and then like it gives you like your choice of buff, like kind of like a pact or something does.
I think that would be
sweet, and that would be really like kind of like on the dark side, that like Chaos does, that we've seen with Chaos Knights and Chaos Space Marines. So that would actually make a lot of sense.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm like that would be something.
And it's thematic too. Yeah.
Yeah, you got that like plus minus, kind of thing. So, I'm like so hyped for this guy, honestly. Like,
same, man. It's gonna be cool. Like him and the Nightbringer coming out probably the same time ish. Actually, no.
I hope it comes out sooner.
Is Nightbringer? Wasn't Steven saying like they're both coming out spring?
Oh, are they both coming out spring? I don't know. I think
Nightbringer spring is from what I've heard, but I don't know. Haven't seen any.
So long, man. It's so long. I can't play 3 DDAs and a king for much longer, man. Like I can't.
Yeah.
They're gonna nerf even if we're not winning. They're still gonna nerf us here pretty soon if we're not careful.
Man.
I don't know what we do if we don't have 3 DDAs. I feel like our viability just goes way down. Like it's gonna be very tough. But
I mean, I'm running 2 in this warrior build right now that feels like okay, but I mean,
you can kind of get away with 2, but
I'd be lying to say I'm not thinking about trying to run 3, but
the nice part about the 3 is that you need 2 to kill something. So once you lose 1, you still want 2 more behind it, to still be able to kill something in the following turn. So I don't know.
So, Steven, you're a recent tournament, man. I heard you like Overwatch, You heard it's a pretty good strat.
I wish we could Overwatch anything. Like, every time I, like, desperately need, like, 1 damage from, like, a DDA, I'm like, well, I'll get 1 damage from DDA. I need 2 damage from it.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, man.
Lower raise will get you 1
fire. One damage through.
If only we had something that reliably hit in Overwatch, like... Maybe a hex mark.
Oh, also in that game, I totally forgot my scarabs. Like I forgot my scarabs from the first 2 rounds. Ulysses died. Ulysses died when I said
Yeah,
that. Yeah, I just straight like.
Hold on, guys. We
because,
gotta
like,
reanimate him.
Yeah,
It's
they
fine.
ended up in
He'll
like the
come back.
back of my in my case, and I just didn't get him out in the first round. And then like I put all of my models on the top of my cart, and then
Mhm.
I just forgot him for the second round too. Probably
Oh,
doesn't save me
God.
in that game, but
I remember
it
you
was
saying that.
yeah, it was like, you know, definitely remember
You know
how many
what was
models.
so funny on the stream though was like as soon as I remember this vividly because I was like playing over at my buddy's house and I was like I was like, oh crap, dude, Steve actually made it on stream here, and then I was like watching your turn one, I'm like, bro, he's totally gonna swing these rays to the middle. I was like, watch this,
Yeah,
guys. And
dude.
I saw you talking to him about it, like, yo, this is
Yeah.
everything you can do. I'm like, guys, trust me, he's gonna do it, dude. Even when he
Yeah.
tells him everything, I'm like, oh,
Dude.
look where they are, dude. I was like, watch
Yeah.
these two Dorns come out. And I was like, here they come.
Yeah.
But,
And then I rolled a 5, and then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna reanimate on the point, get, you know, my 4 wounds back, and I'm gonna deny you area denial completely.
yeah.
And then
yeah.
I was like, and we discussed it too, like at the
yeah,
beginning. I was like,
no, for sure.
this is like the one interaction that I've had like before where people have gotten like upset. Where so I'm like, let me spell it out for you, and like you saw on stream where we like, I was like, this was gonna happen.
Sure.
Like if I roll like the 3 or the 4, then I will just get on the middle. And he's like, all right, do it.
It's just the react move with the res orb off the barge. It's just so, and this fact that the tomb crawlers really can scam it more with those bigger bases, so it's a lot easier for you to like stretch out. That was really well showcased.
Yeah, I was like, I set up the like big brain play. I made the big brain play, and I was like, you know, then I think I just like poked out on the next turn. I was like, I still need to like, I don't think I like came all out on that turn, but like that DDA walked out, got like 1 shot or something, did 0 damage, I think. And I was like, okay, cool. He shot me back and did 0 damage, which was nice. Like I appreciated that.
I'll let you stay in the game, yeah.
Yeah, I continued to do 0 damage on like, and then I was like, okay, next turn was like go turn. I bring out all the DDAs. The Silent King like walks out of the middle, and it was the same thing where he's like, you want to be within 18 inches? Like I can overwatch you. I was like, yeah, dude, go ahead. Like I was like, because I wanted the charge. My whole plan there, with the King going into the middle was I was going to charge there was like a Torox or a Chimera, something like the little transport in the middle, and I was going to try and roll like a really big charge on that. And like after I had like charged with the wraiths and everything like that, boxed myself out so that the Silent King could have like put the Menhir into combat, and then the Silent King, you know, after the wraiths finish off that Torox, the Silent King piles into the back whatchamacallit, Dorn, and then like that, like I was like, I had this huge play all in my head, and then he just does 60 damage to me in Overwatch. Like that's why I was like, oh yeah, go ahead and Overwatch me. Like I was like, I knew that like at most I should lose like 1.5, you know, like Menhirs. I was like, there's no like universe where I should have lost 2 Menhirs. That's why I wanted that Menhir closer.
We're just
because the Menhir being closer
it'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there, but
it was the most important thing on that play because I needed that movement to get around where my race were planning on being. And dude, also my race died to 3 swings from the whatchamacallit, the little idiots, the Kriegs.
They died to the Kriegs, but they took the Dorn on the chin. Like it's
that's the Wraith experience, man. Is that like that's
the Wraiths? I saw that and I was like, oh crap, that's really good.
And I rerolled I rerolled the save into a fail, and then failed both the field of pains, and I was like, awesome. I guess the Wraiths are gone.
But speaking of Wraiths, I mean, obviously we all love Wraiths. But how would you? You guys have all run Star Shatter, right? Without Wraiths, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
Yeah.
And Andrevius in chat is asking, what's the key and core concepts to scoring and holding primaries in Star Shatter without running Wraiths or Warriors? So
I'll tell you, you run 2 Psychomancers, you put Xeris in the Ghost Arc, and you just send it, and it freaking works. Trust me.
And you just send it, brother.
Unless you run into 50 Zerkers, then you're just screwed. But other than that, it works.
What I've been doing to akin to that is, Ghost Arc goes out basically turn 1 because I don't really care. My opponent can put whatever they want into the Ghost Arc. I don't really care. And then Illuminor usually I also run in Stalker, so Stalker will scout 8 and go to my expansion. And sometimes he'll come out and shoot to strip cover. Sometimes he's just decently durable by himself. A lot of times people can't kill him in one shot. And then Illuminor either stages or he stays in the Ghost Arc, pops out. Like, he's the wild card. And then I've also got a unit of Scarabs that go out and do action so that the Ghost Arc and those things don't necessarily have to do them. But yeah, I would say Ghost Arc turn 1. And then turn 2, that's why I said usually Illuminor is kind of staging, so he can go out there turn 2. And then by turn 3, I'm usually full sending Silent King with the DDAs, and everything else is just running forward. So
yeah, I mean, you've been liking the Nightbringer, which I do think is cool.
He's interesting. Like I said, I'm not sold on him. Obviously, he's slow, but he's definitely an extra threat piece that when I go to do my full exposure turn, which is usually turn 3, he can actually be pretty far up the board. And so my opponent is now looking at Silent King with -1 damage, 3 DDAs, and a Nightbringer that's like on the very tip of the mid-board objective, and sitting there and saying, okay, what do I kill first? Do I kill the Nightbringer that if I don't kill, he's going to be on my objective, basically home objective next turn? Or do I kill the Silent King who has -1 damage? No, I don't kill that. So it's like, do I shoot past the Nightbringer and try and shoot a DDA? One of the DDAs can reactive move. It's one of those kind of things that's been working pretty well for me. Usually they choose the Nightbringer. They generally kill the Nightbringer. But then whatever, they just committed their rest of their entire army now to kill Nightbringer, and I still got Silent King and 3 DDAs to shoot back, potentially a Stalker still. Like, I don't know. That's been a good trade for me, but I do want to try a version of Steven Rhoda's list where it has like the Wraiths in there too. My only problem with the Wraiths is I feel so inclined to like streak them down the side to the expansion, my opponent's expansion, but then I get weird about the Technomancer and keeping him hidden, and so it's kind of like, I don't know. I haven't quite figured out how to play the race perfectly yet.
Yeah, Wraiths are tricky. Because like as powerful as they are, they also are like they have glaring weaknesses, which is if your opponent has precision, which is like most of the time.
Yeah.
And then also like for instance in that guard game, the reason I kept leaving like 2 or 3 guys behind the wall is because I didn't want him to be able to full commit ever into them and actually take out the whole unit. I wanted to be able to be like, all right, he got like 8 wounds through. I was like, I might just take these on the regular saves and lose 3 guys and then not let the next one activate into me. Yep.
Well, and then the problem with race too is I feel like once you're down to like the last even 2 or 3 models, they lose a lot of their value.
Yep.
And like I think that's the hardest part for me. So like I don't want to put him out turn 1 because then I don't want him to get chunked.
Yeah.
And so
you do
like
so that's the thing. So you do want the wraith. You have to treat the wraiths and Illuminor in that list as like an engage. I am forcing the subject now. You either come and deal with these wraiths, or I'm going to hold this objective turn 2, and I'm going to go up on a primary lead on you.
I just think the Ghost Arc is doing something very similar at 115 point cost.
Yeah, because the thing with the wraiths too is a lot of times people can do enough damage to you if they want to.
So they don't even try.
Yeah, or they can, it's like in the guard, thing. He just rolls his Taurox up there with, the whatchamacallit, the little shooty idiots. They're all the same little idiots. It just depends on how many special weapons they have. And just drops those on the, on the point.
Objectives.
And he's still gonna like out OC me a lot of the time unless I expose like 4 wraiths, like because they start with 1 OC, I think those guys do, and then he can give them the command for more OC if he needed to. Which is the other thing, because they can also like switch their commands like in the middle of things. I think I remember they can like do that, but I don't know if they can do it to the OC command or not. But they can just like
I do think there's a world where like we could. I'm curious, would you give up Ghost Arc and Illuminor for the race? Probably not both, but
it's basically what they got.
I mean then you're just basically running like the DDA 3 DDA King and Wraith build basically.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said about that. I mean, that build's very. I mean, it's
solid.
I got a saying down here in the South: if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it. Don't fix it.
I think the thing I like about the Ghost Arc though is that people think they can kill it.
Oh yeah, no, I loved it, man. Like if I didn't run into
Yeah.
double World Eater, I'm very confident I would have got at least 4-1 with that list. Like,
Yeah, because I'm just like, people are just like people put out just enough to get it down to like 4 wounds, and I'm like, cool. Now you've
Yeah.
exposed 3 things. I'll kill 2 of them and won't not overcommit. And then next turn
Yeah.
you won't kill any of my big things again. And
And
it's just like, I don't know.
And they are things that are like things that kill DDAs, like because they have
Yeah.
the same defensive profile.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
yeah,
other thing
like-
too is people, I think they have PTSD with the DDAs, so they take it out on the Ghost Arc and they're like, hey, I want to kill the thing that looks like it. You know?
Well,
It's
and
true.
you
It's
like
like,
if you
there
still
you
have
go.
Xeris inside of it, most of the time
Yeah.
my Xeris runs out in my primary expansion. Like most of the time
Yeah.
he just
Yeah.
like he has to go do something.
Yeah.
But if you have Xeris inside of it, it gives you that like funny sort of like, are you gonna put guys in the middle? Are you gonna put 3 OC in the middle? I don't
Yeah.
know. And if you don't, then Xeris might fall out into the middle. And it's like, are you gonna put out enough to kill a DDA? Like, basically kill a DDA and Xeris in the middle on
Yeah.
turn 1 before
Good
my
luck.
DDAs and King come out. And you're like,
Yeah.
all right. And you might still not get him. And if they do put out enough, then he just falls out behind the terrain. Like that's the funniest part is because it's so long that he just falls out behind.
yeah.
like, something.
Yeah.
Again, you're forcing a turn 1 play. You're forcing that
Yeah.
early start. The sooner you can get the game going in Star Shatter, the better off you are. If you can get your opponent playing the game early, going to those objectives early,
Yep.
you are going to be in a better position.
Because
Yeah.
we don't fish out army. Like we don't
Yeah,
have the
we can't pull
mobility
guys
or
out. They
the
have to come
movement
to us.
shenanigans to fish out. Like Hyper can, but we like Star Shatter can't, or an Awaken can't. So you need something to start the agency early. To force, you have to force the plays. Like I used to just throw out like a unit of scarabs, but then I realized like that's not. I'm not forcing enough agency out there. I've got to put something more durable out there to force them to commit harder. And then I like the Psychomancers a little bit too. I'm kind of back and forth on Psychomancers. The only problem with Psychomancers is they also have to be forward enough that puts them in threat range. So that was one of my losses at LVO
Yeah, they're
because
fast.
Psychomancer was just close enough to Admech, who can basically move across to the next table on turn 1. So
Real
Yeah,
quick.
and also
um,
like that's the other thing with Xeris too, because Xeris forces people to come within 12 inches of him, like
Yeah.
or at him, and anything that can kill Xeris in combat, you're more than happy with taking. You're like, all right, go ahead, try. Like if he
Yeah.
dies, he dies, but I'm gonna kill that 300 to 400 point unit.
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'll go for it, dude.
I was gonna say, so people that just joined in, because we got like 40 people in here now. So we're doing like we talked about the model earlier. If you didn't get a chance to catch that, I guess watch it back once this is done. But we're like kind of going through community questions tonight, just talking things out. So I'm gonna start at the top here from Decker and just start kind of going through these. So feel free to drop something if you guys have any like rules questions or list stuff or whatever it might be. But first one here is from Decker. He's going to a 5-man team tournament in December. By the way, team tournaments are freaking awesome. Best way to play Warhammer. It is a blast. Yeah. He's bringing Necrons, obviously. He's leaning towards bringing Awakened. Obviously being a blunter, because that's what Necrons are good at. And let's see. To blunt opposing opponents like Eldari, being the most popular faction last year, I guess, in his local meta. Yeah, I mean, Awakened Dynasty is solid. For blunting,
Wraiths are great.
Yeah.
Eldari has a hard time dealing with Wraiths. I mean, that's one that one proponent to Stephen Rhoda's list is that Eldar don't like to deal with Wraiths. I mean, Fire Dragons don't deal with them. Like, there's a few units that deal okay into them, but they're super squishy, so they just die, and good chance they don't kill them all. But yeah, no, wasn't there like an Awakened list that was pretty popular with like 2 Wraith and the Warriors?
Yeah, the 2
Yeah,
Wraiths.
dude,
Yeah,
it's
because I was talking to
so-
Joshua a lot about that one too.
Oh,
that
man.
thing's gross because also since it's an Awakened, it can just throw the 2 Wraith units at you, and it's like you can only
Dude, it's-
precision one of my Technomancers, and he's gonna come back. So like it's like really annoying.
No, dude,
one of
all
the
you
things-
do, you just stage up the Warriors, and they're the only downside of Warriors, like, oh, you want a one-shot with a melee? Oh, sorry, I'm just going to heroic intervene with the race, man. I guess I guess you didn't get everybody in, and now you got a half swing on race and half swing on Warriors. I couldn't even think of a worse
the other
situation to be in.
hilarious thing is if you have like your Wraiths like going over walls and stuff, you can have your warriors just standing behind the Technomancer, so nothing can be on that side of the wall and see your Technomancer and precision him, because they'd only be able to engage the race, which is the thing I love to do with Scarabs, like just putting them on the other side of the wall and be like, you could get here, but you're still only seeing like Scarabs. But But to your point, one of the biggest like mistakes I made at Challengers Cup, in my team, one was I was kind of prepping for LVO, admittedly, and my team was okay with that. I was like, I'm gonna take like a really singles focused list, and I'm gonna see, if I can just do a lot of scoring, which I was able to do. But the opponents are gonna be really like hyper focused and stuff like that. So I actually ended up in a couple matchups that I was like, I don't actually like. In the pairings process, I was like, man, I'm actually like letting you guys down here because I don't have like good matchups into like, like a lot of these things that I normally would. And I have a lot of like 10-10s. And that's not like wonderful when also I have like 3 negatives where they have like, like world leaders and like a bunch of other stuff that's going to pound me. So what I would do first is like talk to your team, see what your team is bringing. Like, because I know you're like thinking about Eldari. We're really good into Eldar, and I would actually consider probably Star Shatter maybe a little bit more over because the King is so punishing into Eldari because they just can't do anything outside of their transports because his indirect is just gonna slowly murder them and it forces the game early. But like also talk to your team with what they're bringing and be like, hey, can you guys like if I bring this like double wraith list or this like the other thing you'll be terrified of is like world eaters or anything that can just put out a massive attacks into warriors, and that'll probably skew like, hey, do we have enough people to pinch world eaters like anytime you put me down? Like you can't put me down if like world eaters and EC are out there kind of thing if you're taking warriors,
Right.
and then vice versa. But I feel like in general rates are probably a little bit better right now.
Yeah, I think either the Awaken or the Star Shadow list would be really good in teams, only because you can be that first defender and be pretty good
That's what I was
into
gonna
almost
say.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta
Awaken for the 5-man team tournament's probably going to be your better bet, only because you skew better into that infantry
Yeah.
dominant meta. I would also lean more even heavier into that. I would avoid the ranged threat that you think you might need and lean even
just
heavier
go-
into the unkillable warrior brick plus wraiths plus plus on the heavy elite infantry and force your because ultimately in teams you're going for the good matchup or you're going to be a defender. And if you're going to be a defender, you relatively need a durable army in most cases, or you need to be incredibly skilled with the army that you're playing to be able to negate some of the bad matchups that you're probably going to run into, right? So if you're not going to be that technical scalpel, you have to be the anvil, which means you have to absorb the damage and keep it a close game and try and net loss that to like a 1 or 2 point deficit.
Yeah.
So I would lean heavier into the skew list if I was being a defender. If I'm being an attacker, I'm going heavier into a scalpel unit where I need to potentially 15-5 or 20-0 my opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also like make sure that you're not opening yourself up to 2 of those like bad matchups that you aren't going to be able to get off the board quickly. That was the big thing for me.
Opponent, or tell your team like, hey, if they have war leaders and EC, I can't be first defender until one of those two is gone.
Yeah, until one of them's gone. Who else was rough for me? I didn't take Wraith, but that's also where I discovered that Xeris was awesome. I was like, that was the first like trial run of Xeris. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I was just like a little bit more vulnerable to things than I wanted to be.
Yeah, but I do like Necrons as a first defender. And
we're a good defender for sure.
Yeah,
especially if you're running the unkillable wraith brick or the warrior brick.
And you could always run the singular list. Like the singular list is tried and true. It's good. You just won the world championship, so I would trust him with the double wraith Star Shatter list. Probably pretty good. Yeah,
more wraiths the better for a skew list for sure.
Yeah, because then if you get into a matchup that can't handle them, you're gonna get 50.
And the nice thing with the double wraith list too is worst case scenario you lose 8-12. Like you shouldn't be losing a wraith list should probably not be losing worse than a 5-15 at the very worst case scenario. So
yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
I think that's a comfortable loss right there. Would be 5-15 would be about your worst case scenario.
Pretty much.
Jake, next question here. We got assuming there are 6 new detachments, which coming out for 500 worlds, they're split 50-50, so 3 each. What is it? 2?
We're getting 2. I bet you we're getting 2.
Ooh, you got some secret insider knowledge? You'll have to tell us later.
Maybe.
I guess.
Maybe not.
I might trust this guy. Maybe, but
two
he,
I
is-
don't know what we're
one-
talking about. We're getting to.
all right, we're
They
getting
said
two.
6 detachments, so that means there's 5 Ultramarines and 1 Necrons.
the way things are going.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
way things are going. What do we all want to see? I mean, I think it's some just mainly just melee focus.
I mean,
yeah,
I want a Satan detachment. I love my Nightmare. I love my Satan. So
yeah, that would
that's
be
what
cool
I'm
too.
wanting.
I would like to
That'd be
see
cool, too.
a melee-driven detachment that is a little bit more synonymous with Necrons in their durability. I think that we deserve to have a much stronger, either hitting or moving or faster moving detachment in Annihilation Legion. I think, like Eula said, we'll get the Catan detachment. I believe the second one will likely be a very beefy infantry driven detachment where you're actually more benefited from taking like destroyer and flayed ones hopefully than the Annihilation Legion currently, because it's
Give destroyers ride hard, ride fast.
anything. Anything. Give me
For 1
anything.
CP, don't charge us 2 CP for ride hard, ride fast.
Dude, it's
Four Binvul, so six man destroyers become a thing.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
cool.
while they're within 6 inches of the new
Nekrosor.
character. Yeah.
Or even a strat, like if you found a way to add durability, the 6-man destroyer unit would be deadly. Like
I mean, you can
you
give
know.
him stealth. It doesn't really do much for him though. They're still
it's not enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
you need
think,
some sort of invul or
like-
-1 to wound maybe, but
Like Steven was almost saying earlier, it'd be interesting to see them try to weave the Triarch and Destroyer keywords together.
Yes.
Where then you're weaving like the Stalkers, the Praetorians, like
The
all
Locust.
melee, like,
Can we
fast
get
stuff,
Locust back
And-
involved?
and still the King. Like if they were able to weave like a detachment with those two keywords and like synergize
Yeah.
around that would be.
When's the last time you guys took a full 6-man Locust brick?
they're they're
I
not
tried it
Never.
once.
They're
They're
too
bad. They
big.
really aren't.
Well,
Like,
that's what I. But I mean, can we get something? Can we?
Yeah.
Can they come into relevance, please?
They need to update those models though.
But
Yeah.
with them if they have a 5-up crit with lethals and re-rolling everything, and then like they're like surprisingly like deadly. The biggest problem though is you touch them with one little thing and they can't punch back and
It's
then
all
they get
over.
stuck in combat.
Yeah, they have
But-
to take the fallback enhancement.
Yeah. So I mean, outside of the fallback, you need a better way for them to have fallback and shoot. But I mean, if they have
Their
that,
best is Hypercrypt, where you can pick him up and then you give the Locust Lord the one where you put him back down and he rerolls all hit rolls, so you can keep him at a far range.
They already reroll hits. They do that naturally.
Well, only on objectives.
Well,
So now you're kind of free ranging it. You're not always focused on the guy on the objective. You can actually take out a pivotal unit that's, because you can.
I wish those ones got the infantry keywords so you could pull them through the monoliths to pull them out of combat.
that would be funny.
That'd be
That'd
wild.
be gross.
That'd be
That'd be
wild.
crazy.
They used to be infantry. Just saying, but
Yeah.
So, what was the question?
Okay, next question. So 19 Necron lists at WCW. Anything you guys were actually interested by or anything where the results surprised you? Wasn't really surprised by the results. I didn't really see any super spicy lists, sadly, maybe outside of like the Phalanx build that did pretty well. Yeah, I can pull it up and double check, but
I mean, I only got to see the one on stream, and it was like super unfortunate because he felt like he had such an early lead, and then it still kind of showed how that at least that particular list kind of fell apart still.
We aren't good at stepping on people's throats, man. Like,
That's true. Yeah.
I've had Scary come back 28 points on me. I've had my buddy Alex White came back like 20. It was like I think it was like 27 points in the bottom around 5, and I'm just like, I was like, man, I was trying to throw haymakers every single round, and I just could not connect on them.
Shout out to my buddy Ryan Pierce, who did play at WCW, who took a variation of my list and ran it. Did pretty well. Got kind of screwed with his matchups. Ran into World Eaters and Orcs twice in that. both twice.
Twice?
Both twice.
That's weird.
So shout out to him, and I think he had like only 2 in his entire pod, I think, of each. So he ran into both.
He got him.
You got both, like so. Shout out to him for still
Feel
trooping
the
through
pain,
that.
brother.
Yeah. So
Feel
shout
the
out to Ryan
pain.
Pierce for sure. He ran a variation and did very, very well. Did good. Toon Blades MVP still. Star Shatter, Toon Blades.
They're great,
Think
man.
about it.
I do love them. I do love them.
If you can trade them for 5 points, it's such a good trade.
Mhm.
And a lot of times
Yeah.
they can.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know. I keep wanting to. I keep debating on. I love having my spider because I love having the idea of 16 wound DDAs, but I wonder sometimes. I'm like, if I had that extra unit that would just change 5 points on a primary and force my opponent to play a little bit differently the rest of the game.
Yep.
But
75 points is like so contested. If I could just have like infinite 75 points in my
you know
list,
what's funny?
like this would be so good.
If the Toon Blades are 70, they probably make it to my list.
Yeah.
Because,
75 is like because you got the reanimator, you got the hex mark.
Boys are still making it on my list, even if they're at 80.
You got that Geomancer, man. I love me some
You got the
Geomancer.
Geomancer.
Yeah.
He's there.
He's in
You
every
gotta-
one of
you
my
gotta-
lists right now.
You got the Psychomancer with like an enhancement on him, like
Yeah.
I have been in my head debating on whether or not Tomb Walkers replace the solo Locust Destroyer. For an
sometimes.
extra 10 points, you get the extra the sizing difference and spacing.
Killian, what we got next, bud?
Yeah.
Idea of home, holding home. So many times when I want to hold home, I want one model to kind of be almost off the objective to screen out the 9 inches.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm like
yeah,
having two models in that holding home scenario.
Yeah. I agree. I
don't know. I haven't tried it yet, but it's something I've been thinking about on the drive today.
With Louis G in the chat, with Knights losing a little popularity, can the Warrior Brick come back? Yo, man, the Warrior Brick never left.
Yeah.
Okay, just because,
Amen, brother.
just because Daniel and I aren't playing it because our team are like, dude, we hate that you are so effing good at Necrons. Stop playing these effing Warriors. Then I can't get reps with them. But I'd be lying to say that I've only been practicing Warriors as of late. So in Star Shatter, I have been loving them. Mainly because here's the thing with Warriors, guys, is I played a game today. And, I'm overly nice and overly transparent because there are so many things that you can do with that brick that are not telegraphed. Like, you think the Warriors are janky? Like, I felt even today's game, I reminded 10 different times with hey, no, I can rogue intervene here. No, I can move this and swing this over here. Don't do that, Where in a tournament, it's of course you're trying to give them all the knowledge, but, it is very hard to stay within a 3-hour window when you're playing against Warriors. A lot of times when I play that army, my opponent is usually running into clock trouble, not me, because there's so many possibilities of what that thing can do. That's what I love about it.
I do love that when people pull out the clock. They're like, "I'm gonna put you on a clock." You're like, "Okay, cool." And then you move your warriors, you're like, boom, 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 boom. And you're like, "Your go," and then they're like, "Uh oh."
I think my next Star Shatter list is gonna try and find room for warriors.
I really like them. I've been running it with double Stalker. Because the Stalker, like you were saying, I've been liking 2 mainly because obviously still running Rural Warden. But the Stalkers, I've been noticing they're really clogging up any sort of melee threat, like when you're running into Zerkers, because a lot of times either you can use the Stalker as a wall where they don't have enough fire output to get rid of it, and so you kind of block their ability for surface area to charge, and or if they hit, like you're saying, the Stalker can just simply overlap because it doesn't have a base, so you don't need to worry about getting a long charge. And you're like, well, that model,
bullshit.
That model
stand
scans,
right in the middle of the
when I
Warriors
was playing against Sisters today, he was like, "How much OC is that? 4? What?" I was like,
What? Yeah.
I don't know why it's OC4, man, but it is.
I always try and let people know early in the game too about the DDAs. I'm like, they have oddly high OC. And people are like, what? And I'm like, it's 5. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, dude, it's 5.
The Ghost Arc should be 5. The DDA should be 3 or 4. But
Yeah, actually, I think that should be switched almost.
Like,
Yeah.
but yeah. I mean, to answer your question, full transparency, I've been practicing Warriors. I'll probably put up like a list breakdown on the channel pretty soon here. I'm just trying
I mean,
to
the other
get some
funny
stuff
part
like
too is I don't even think the Knights are what stopped Warriors. I mean, the World Eaters are more of a problem for Warriors.
Yeah, the World Eaters are the thing that's
Yeah.
scary.
And maybe Orcs.
Photon.
They're
Yeah.
scary
Yeah,
too.
maybe, yeah.
Photon. Problem. Big
So
problem.
it depends on your meta. If you don't feel like you're going to be running into a lot of World Eaters or a lot of Votan, like some of those armies, and there's still ways to like get around it, but those are definitely the armies that will scam the Warriors the most.
10d3 plus 40, hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, sustained hits 2 hurts. Don't run into Votan with your warrior list, and you'll be okay.
It's okay.
Is it AP1 or AP2 though on those?
It can be AP. I think it can be AP2 with the strat with the Votan, and it can ignore cover.
Yeah, that's the combo. Yeah,
Yeah,
Votan aren't real though. Like
Votan are real.
they're not real.
They're real when you go 4-0 and run into one. It's like,
I don't
oh, hi.
believe them.
Oh,
Do you,
nice to meet you unicorn.
So next question here, we got, do you guys believe we will see more use of the Geomancer and Tombstalkers coming into play in the coming tournaments? Tombstalkers for sure.
You lost me at Geomancers, but you got me back on the Tomb.
Yeah, you got me back on the Tombstalkers. I got Tombstalkers in my list right now. If I was going to RTT tomorrow, they're in my list. So if that answers your question, then there you go. And Steven just ran them
Geomancers, no.
with great success. His
What,
most recent.
what point does the Geomancer have to be at when you guys start considering it?
45.
That's 75 point. No, I'm good.
Yeah, I do
45.
it at 50. At 50, I'd be okay with just sticking him on the home and being like, yeah. whatever.
Yeah.
I maybe give it credit at 55.
Because then he's the same as the you know what you were talking about with the Tombstalkers. Yeah.
Then
unfortunate.
Sebastian very fittingly is asking, have we finished painting our Geomancers? So funny story. I have the kit. I built everything but the Geomancer right now. He's still unclipped.
I could show you everything but the Geomancers. I can go grab the set. I have 15 macro sites at my house and 6 Tomb Stalkers.
No big deal. No big deal. It's fine.
I'll go grab them. I'll go grab them. You guys talked me into it.
I have all of them too, but I only painted the 2 Tombstalkers so far because that event was like a like a last second that my buddies are like, dude, are you going to this one? And I was like, no. And they're like, list locks like tonight if you wanted to go. And I was like, damn it. Okay. And it was like a Wednesday list lock. So I was like, fine. Like, I'll go.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh no, I got to paint the Tombstalkers. So I was like, airbrush, let's go. But luckily I have the cheater scheme. The cheater scheme allows me to just like airbrush really quickly and then like go
And it still looks good. Yeah.
Yeah, because the teal plus the pink, like you're like, oh, cool colors, and you don't like look at anything else. You just see cool colors, and it's like, yeah, they're good.
We love this. We love this.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So what's the key or core concepts of scoring and holding primary and Star Shatter without running race? Oh, I guess we kind of answered that earlier.
Yes.
So with the Ghost Arc, that combo really does work. It's actually really fun to play too.
The idea behind the Ghost Arc is you give it the -1 damage. In my list, I also, because of how long the Ghost Arc is, he can stretch back to the Spider Aura. So it's like -1 damage with a 6-up Feel No Pain is just really gross to deal with.
Yeah.
But even if you don't have the Feel No Pain, like just the Ghost Arc body with a -1 damage is, they're gonna have to commit like probably 400 points to get rid of that 100.
And he's a big wall too. So like on board 1, he just like run like at LVO. It's just like every game was like he just came out and was on the middle, and then like next turn he's coming and turning in front of you, and he's like now in front of your whole army, and you're like, he's your problem.
He's already got him painted too. Slow down, man. Slow down.
They look good.
Yeah, those are solid, dude.
They kind of look like excited upside down dogs, though.
Dude, I like the new Tomb Crawlers, man. I think they look great.
Yeah, they're great.
They're very they're more dynamic than I thought they're gonna be. I think they look cool. When deciding running Racer Wars in either Awakened or Star Shatter, what thought process goes through your minds when deciding one unit over another? I mean, it really just goes back to
Which
what
2 units?
What was that?
Which 2
Racer Warriors.
Racer Warriors, like in Star Shatter Awaken. I think it just kind of depends on like what you want to what you want to do. I mean, they're both very good. for just different reasons. I think it just kind of leans into more of like your play style. I would say the Warriors are definitely a lot more complex to play correctly because there's more going on. The Wraiths are a little bit more beginner friendly.
You're forgiven more with the rates for bad accidental movements.
Yeah, they can forgive more mistakes. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, as far as thought process, I mean, Awakened is more like we were kind of mentioning earlier, the blunter, if you will. So, the builds that we're seeing a lot now, unfortunately, it's just like you're just going crazy stat check, putting all the synergistic pieces behind one or the other and just like leaning into that style of the detachment. Whereas in Star Shatter, which I personally like Star Shatter more in teams right now than I do Awakened. Just because I think in Awaken right now, yes, you can run the 12 Wraith, 20 Warrior build, which I think, I mean, it is really good. It's like, it is just a absolute crazy stat check, but I think it potentially has more bad matchups overall because I think it's just very susceptible to getting pushed in and you can't dig yourself out of it. Where at least with Star Shatter, like you can still build it.
It's also a rough.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Awaken's also rough to also to run away with score too. Like Star Shatter.
Yeah, like if we're talking about points, like at least I can actually get resources off the table and still build a list that can score points like in the process. So I don't know, but I mean that's just like one person's take on it. But I mean they're both great right now, but it's a pretty broad question in terms of like I mean there's a lot of different ways that you can.
And it's also interesting, like you also look at too like how you synergize your defensive vulnerabilities. So like Warriors, obviously their defensive vulnerability is volume. If you run like weirdly like Satans or however Satans, anyways, Satans and Warriors have a similar vulnerability where Wraiths and your DDAs have a similar vulnerability. So it's kind of like, and it's generally a better idea to stack vulnerabilities. Because if someone brings an all-comer list, well, then part of their list is going to be, if you have no Warriors and your opponent's going to have a bunch of Strength 4 and Strength 5 stuff and 2 Wraiths and DDAs, like those are going to not have the same kind of efficiency, so they just kind of become null and void. So there's that benefit. So you kind of look at what else is in your army, but yeah, Warriors got a lot of tricks if you really know how to play them well in regarding to the reanimations.
Warriors also, like we've talked about this before, that like Warriors, the by far the most important thing about Warriors is being able to assess like what can actually kill them, and you have to be able to assess that on a turn by turn basis because like if the opponents have like 2 units that can combine, you have to make sure that both of those can't combine on you. And things like that. And if they
where's your heroic intervention to help dampen that?
And if they don't, then you can just kind of lean on them. Like my wife and I recently randomly like started watching sumo wrestling on YouTube, and it's like it's impressive. Like it's
actually
awesome. But I was gonna use like an analogy is like the Warriors, if they don't have that that thing that can punch them, Warriors could just like sometimes the bigger guy will just like lean on the other guy until he like gets tired, but like sometimes they can like juke that guy and he just like falls on his face and then he loses, and sometimes that'll happen to the Warriors too. So like sometimes they'll like be able to manage it and put a rhino into him and you just like can't do what you need to, you can't lean on them right. But other times you're just gonna lean on them and they're gonna get exhausted and you're just gonna like smash them on the last turn. Dude, I lost Ulyss with the sumo analogy.
It's okay, he was overwhelmed, man. He was overwhelmed. I got a Resorb. I got a Resorb coming up on him right now. Nice. Yep. I just rolled a 1
at the end of any phase, dude. It's weird. Sometimes at the end of the fight phase.
I was gonna say sometimes Ross, you run into Terminators too. So
yeah. You just run into them and they just kind of like fight you and you can't kill them and you're like, it's actually worse that I'm stuck in combat with you.
Yeah.
So.
Let's see here. So, next question. Let's see. I'm running next week. Wraith, Break, DD, and Sign.
Warriors do better in Awaken though, just because they really lean into the re-rolling reanimations, and you're doing so many reanimations in Awaken.
I also, I was experimenting with them in Canoptic Court. I played like 6 games, and I couldn't make it work. Maybe that's a me thing.
Yeah.
But also like half of the games I wasn't running the Ghost Arc, and I found that you absolutely have to have the Ghost Arc, because that if you're not running Awakened, you need at least one of those like procs where you can reanimate in like after an ascent.
I have dibs on Richard Becker's question.
What's up?
I have dibs on his question when it comes up.
It's actually the next one. So you're in luck.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so this first tournament this weekend, I wanted to run Canoptic Court.
Let's go! Let's go! You Chad!
The Infiltrate enhancement on the Technova 6 race. Yep, good call. And 2 Crypto Thralls. Would dropping these guys mid-objective be bad call?
Yes. In some cases, yes. Yes, it would be. In some cases, yes. So there's 2 ways you're going to play that Wraith Brick. One is, hey, look, this is a shooting army. I'm going to put this in a position that's 9 inches away, or, generally as close as you possibly can, while knowing that if they're going, and you try and save it for like the last one. I always take like a Flayed Ones unit as well to kind of protect the area I anticipate trying to place my Wraith Brick, right? And when you do that, you protect that area, and then if you have a shooting army, let's take terrain layout 1, right? You place the first unit of Flayed Ones in that little power Dorito, I like to call it, that little center triangle, if you will, right? And then you wait. You save that unit for the very last thing. You do not show them that unit at all. You pretend like it doesn't even have Infiltrate. You just ignore that unit completely.
Yeah.
At the last, you gotta let them know. You gotta let them know that it has.
No, of course.
Definitely let them know.
You pretend like that thing doesn't exist until the end of your deployment. You just pretend like that is not existent anymore until the end of your deployment. At the very last second, you put that shit right out there, right in that power Dorito, and you yeet it forward. You're probably going to win 90% of those games. On the other hand, if it's a melee threat army, again, you place that Flayed Ones unit. That's what I would do, and then you wait. You then see which side they're really heavy on, and you put your infiltrating unit on their weak side. And you push the weak side and force their weak side to deal with a Wraith Brick that it's not generally going to be able to punch through. The rest of your army can now deal with their heavy side and cushion that blow and deal with it. I would never put it on the center objective unless you're confident, like in a terrain layout 1 scenario, where you can keep it protected on that center objective.
But even then, you don't want to do it because you give up overwhelming, or you give up like storm.
Well, you don't put it on the center objective, but you put it near.
I will raise you.
Player, so just letting them know.
I will raise you. Take Deceiver, and put that shit wherever you want, and then at the end of deployment, move it. Like
my meme list is.
It's good.
It's not bad. It's not bad. You're not wrong, but it's too much.
My meme list is taking Infiltrate on 20 warriors and spreading it across the whole thing, and then take the Deceiver and just pick them back up.
They did.
Yeah. If you take like the 10, you could take like 10 Flayed Ones, and you just like string them across the middle, and you're like, I'm gonna redeploy them, but you can't put any Infiltrators out. It's really good.
20 warriors would be so hilarious to do like an escape across the entire table.
That one's good too. Yeah, you do it twice. You're just like Technobowl. Remember the Technobowl run where he ran back and forth and back?
Yeah. And then you just run a monolith that's just going to come in later and drop them somewhere anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Richard, Overwatch is your best friend with Canoptic Court. I promise you. Rerolling 5s in your deployment zone with those Doomstalkers is going to save your life. Also, I recommend.
Go ahead. The Deceiver's good. I actually I played like multiple games with him, and I know
guys,
he's like
guys. We're gonna call out Steven. He played multiple games with him. Now in his GT coming, ask him if he's gonna run a Deceiver. Okay, ask him at his next GT. Is Steven gonna be running a Deceiver? Are you gonna be running a Deceiver at your next GT, Steven?
I mean, if I told you, then I wouldn't be like that. That's not very Deceiver of me.
Yeah, that is.
How about Praetorians? You still like the TP?
I don't know. They didn't do anything for me at the tournament, but I still feel like they're really good in the paces that we need them, which is like killing little 10-man idiots like jackals. So I don't think they're bad, but no, the Deceiver, absolutely, because his shooting attack isn't bad because it's got that anti-character. If it was 2 damage, it would be actually
man, he's really selling us on this right now. Keep going.
But his melee attack into 3 wound bodies is unironically better than the Nightbringer in a lot of cases because you get more swings. So because he gets 8 attacks instead of 8 attacks at it's 8-3-3 instead of 6 attacks.
I think my problem is the one time that I had 9 Scarabs kill a Deceiver, it really hurt me to take Deceiver.
Well, he also has stealth, And he also has
stealth is really
like more
nice.
OC. He also has stealth and he has 6 OC, which like those are two things that are like actually like pretty good. And when you're running like a Canoptic Court list where you have like 12 or 18 wraiths, like all of a sudden having a deceiver just kind of like wandering around, people are like, what do I like? What happens?
You know what the deceiver might actually be kind of low key interesting is that be the one guy that you just advance and try and run towards your opponent's expansion.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, if you want to deal with it, I don't really care. It's 265 points. It's not like that much of a commitment, but it's going to take something to kill it. And then if it gets to your expansion object, like it's probably going to start with 6 OC. It doesn't have to kill that much to actually take it back over.
Yeah,
I hadn't thought about doing that. That's actually kind of low key interesting.
He's not bad. He pulled that one game that I was like complaining the other day when I was in chat. I was like, the Nightbringer's terrible because he couldn't kill a Falcon. Like he did like and the Falcon doesn't even have an invuln. We found that out. I was like, wait, he doesn't even have an invuln? I was like, oh, okay, I swing into him. And then he just like misses. And I was like, this guy sucks. And then the deceiver like ran over and just like fisted a bunch of Eldar. And he was great.
I find out with Nightbringer, the Nightbringer damage into Magnus with King nearby does 26 wounds. Without King nearby does 5. Like if you don't have the reroll ones next to Nightbringer, like
that's Necron math. That's Necron math. Like you're like, what?
I mean, it's true. It's true. Good question from Toast Butter here, which we talked about quite a bit, but how would you guys deal with the melee pressure armies like Death Guard and World Eaters? I have some videos talking about this, like in depth. Like definitely check those out. But like in a nutshell, I think it comes down to the biggest thing is surface area. Like I like to describe it, and what I mean by that is when you have a melee unit charge in, it's a lot easier to kind of like explain on TTS or something like that, but obviously there's a certain like footprint that a unit has, and the biggest thing that you're trying to do is limit where that unit can hit that other unit, or limit the amount of surface area that can hit, so it opens up opportunities for you to countercharge with things like Triarch Stalkers or Scorpex or Xeris or whatever it might be, because the biggest strength of those units, like 10 Berserkers, or if they're running like 6 Death Shroud, or I mean usually run them in 3s, but let's just say it was like a crazy brick of 6, is if they all get to attack. And so your line of defense is trying to figure out the puzzle of how do I limit getting maybe only 5 of those guys in instead of 10, right? And that's how you can really neutralize some of those units in those matchups. And the other thing is just staying out of their threat ranges. Like, just ask your opponent, like, what's the max range they can move? Usually for crazy threat range armies, it's between like 24 and 30 inches. If you stay outside of that and just shoot them or do something else, then you're not going to get touched.
And you give them a bait unit to charge into, whether that's a Ghost Arc or a Luminor, like something that has some value that they need to remove anyway. So I think that's the important part. Is I think as Necrons, we have some of the best trade bait units in the game. Or at least some of them, whether that's Scarabs at the very low end, or we have, like I said, Stalkers are good at 110, Ghost Arcs at 115, Illuminor at 165. Like those are all going to take a much more expensive unit to get rid of, and so you put something out like that, and they're going to have to commit a 300-point unit to get rid of a 115-point unit, and then you can trade up into that next series. So I think that's the important part. And then like what Kylan was saying is really. Always ask. One of the biggest things that's always asked is like, hey, what are your biggest melee threats and what's their maximum turn 1 like charge? Mm-hmm. Like, let me make sure I don't give you a freebie turn 1, and that'll help you in a lot of those melee games.
Yeah. I'd also like to add this statement into your vocabulary from now on. Whoever did ask this question, this unit is 1 inch off of this wall. Mostly because when you say that, now you're not only limiting the amount of space that can be touched by it, like everybody was just echoing here, but you're also now stressing that you're unchargeable in certain scenarios. Because like your Doomsday Arcs can fit in a 6x12 feature relatively easily, they can also fit in that 6x12 feature relatively easily while being an inch away from the wall. Meaning that little L shape over there, that's no charging me zone, right? Now you can only touch me in this little area over here. with your 18 models that you might have, with your Berserker brick, with your Orc boys, with your blah, 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 blah. Always use that. I'm an inch away from this wall. I'm a inch and a half away from this wall in some cases. Like if you're versing another Necrons player and you see wraiths on the other side of the wall, you can be an inch and a half away from the wall. It doesn't matter. You can be that far away from the wall and still be safe from those wraiths. So always remember to stress that you're an inch away from the wall, especially with your screening units too, which like in that little U shape that you put, if you have either flayed ones or Ophidians or warriors or anything, and they are lined an inch away from that wall, that is essentially saying this wall is not chargeable. This anything, it's not passable, it's not chargeable, it's not movable. Don't look at it. Go around it. It's not free.
And also, for Necrons, heroic intervention is a defensive strat, not an offensive strat.
Yep.
Like I love scarabs because the amount of times a scarab saves a DDA, like I can't stress how often that happens because the DDAs are the scarabs are in a position and they have fly, so fly actually matters here. And so they have fly, which means it's easier for them to heroic intervene. And then the best part is I fly over, let's say they have 10 possessed that charge the or now we're going to talk about Vitrix coming up, and they charge the Vitrix in the DDA. Well, 3 of them are not base to base and they're like need to pile in. All of a sudden I can take a 40-point unit, stop half of that entire unit's damage production, and then still give them a couple mortal wounds for shits and giggles. And I just lost 40 points to basically save the DDA, and now my DDA only takes 6 damage instead of taking all 14, so I think of heroic intervention against those kind of armies as a defensive strat. And what units do you have that you can heroic? And we are always better forcing our opponents to split damage because we have reanimate. And so the more times you can split.
Yeah, I always like try and I know I've said this before, is like the sooner I can get my opponent away from like lethal damage, the sooner you can just like take over the game. Like with wraiths, like all of a sudden if they don't have lethal damage on the wraiths, now you don't even have to like protect the Technomancer anymore because you're like, oh, whatever, you don't have anything that kills like 6 wraiths in 1 activation. I don't care. Technomancer, they're running across the board. And now all of a sudden you can just like move freely once they can't like deliver lethal damage. And like you were saying, that's like one way that you can just like kind of prevent it too in a lot of cases where it's like, oh, you could hit me with 6 Vitrix honor guards, but then you have the 3 guys that have to extra hide, so the first 3 like made it into combat. The back 3, your scarabs all of a sudden fly over the first 3, and those back 3 have to kill 3 scarabs. Cool. Like I'm fine with this, and then all of a sudden they're like, this is actually they're killing 2 scarabs because one of them blew up first.
One of them explodes, so there's a couple mortals on the way out,
Yeah, he's like, and scarabs roll those 3s a lot. They rolled those 3s, like 3 on mortals, a lot more than my Scorpec Lords rolled the 6 on mortals. So
especially that was the other thing too. Losing that night game. The other reason I lost is I forgot that the scarabs auto. I rolled 2 1s in the free or 3 1s over the course of the game.
Oh, they auto pass it on that.
Yeah, they auto pass on 1s. I totally forgot. I was like, oh, that would have definitely killed the defender that had 4 wounds left. I'm like,
yep.
Hot take here, guys, real quick before we answer another question. Actually, this is a question I'd like the chat to answer too, if they're still there. I think it's my hot take. I don't think we're beatable in Apocalypse games.
I think I'd argue that we're actually like kind of weaker in Apocalypse games.
We reanimate too much.
Well, but also they have more damage to like one-shot our bricks.
Yeah, but if you don't, you have to pick the 3 you want to one-shot. But in that, you have like 20 bricks.
How many DDAs can you take in Apocalypse?
What? 3.
Oh no. I thought you got more.
I was gonna say,
Resuraptic heavy constructs too.
I just 10 DDAs.
Yeah, can I just take all DDAs?
Yeah. You can take 3. You can take 3.
You can take 3.
I don't think we're beatable with the reanimators and everything else. I don't think we're beatable.
I don't know, maybe.
I
haven't played enough Apocalypse games, so I don't know.
Yeah.
What?
I'm like 4-0, and
nice.
It hasn't even been close.
That's awesome.
If we wanted to run Hypercrypt at your local game store, how would you build it?
Monster Mash.
Just run Ulysses list, man.
Yeah.
I still think that, and I think that list has more play now. That's one that I stopped playing mostly because of knights. I could drop in and kill a big knight, but then I would still be screwed into the next sequence. I like the idea of Silent King next to a monolith.
2 monoliths, right?
And then I like the 2 monoliths, but the idea also the warriors, the plasmancer, and yeah. So my probably most, it's probably still one of my most fun lists I've ever played with Necrons was Silent King, 2 monoliths, Illuminor, the unit of warriors, and then whatever else spice you want to add to the list. But the concept behind that list was like, okay, so 2 monoliths drop down. Silent King drops down, make sure he's within position. Usually you don't even have to use the 6-inch drop on him. So sometimes you can do the 6-inch drop on the monolith and then drop him off on the side. The other monolith comes out. The one that 6-inch drops kicks the warriors out in a very advanced position. The other one kicks the Luminor through to give the extra buff to the warriors. And now the warriors have the extra AP. They still are durable because you add the thralls or now maybe the tomb stalkers. Is tomb walkers?
Anyways, Tomb Stalkers.
Yeah,
and the Tomb Stalkers give you ignore mods now, which is actually really good. That's actually super relevant into Vitrix because Vitrix have like perma -1 to wound, so they can ignore that as well.
Well,
like
it doesn't matter so much. Hidden wound modifiers.
The best part about warriors though is the warriors already almost ignore all mods because you're just going for 5 lethals rerolling.
Yeah.
So like that's the thing, and so that unit of warriors on average does 14 like wounds to just about everything in the game. And then you have the monoliths that are re-rolling with sustained D3, which is really good. Re-rolling 1s anyway from Silent King. So they're just really effective. And then they're still weirdly good at close combat. And then if your opponent only chunks the warriors for 2 CP, you take them back to that back monolith and they fall back there, and then you get to rinse and repeat with them. So like that's the combo that I liked. And then I would use ironically would use the reanimator to go out by himself on a forward objective and use 1 CP to give a 4-up invul with a 4-up film pain on a 75-point unit. Super durable. And if I could fit the stalker, I would. But yeah, double monolith, Silent King, and warriors. You're gonna on your come down turn, you're gonna really blow some people up.
Wait, what about if you take obelisks and geomancers and make people -4 to move? Or well, no, it's half to move plus -2.
I think that there's a lot of credibility to a monolith hyper cryptless. I think that I think you have to be well versed in a hyper crypt list and understand it very well before you start playing the monolith build. If you're trying to build hey, I'm preparing for hyper crypt and I kind of want to learn this. I have found fantastic success at a GT level event in Crucible, Florida, where I placed 10th with 4 Catan and a Tesseract Vault.
And there's less things that are killing Catan these days.
Right. So I would recommend if you're trying to just mess around in your local meta and potentially blow some people up, a Tesseract Vault because you can take the Catan, the Transcendent that you'll need in your list out of it, and nobody's going to say, hey, by the way, your TV doesn't have a Catan in it. Nobody's going to care. So you take that out, you play the TV, the Catan. I would add a TSK. My current Hypercrypt list has a TSK, the Void Dragon, and the Nightbringer, and a Tesseract Vault. I reroll 1s with the Tesseract Vault. It absolutely shreds. It has indirect on it, just like the TV does. So you're not really worried about that big threat. You can pick it up, Cosmic Precision it. It's fantastic, just like you can with the TSK. And it's a low model count, so you don't have to travel very heavy with it. It's a TV with 4, or like a Tesseract or a TSK and 2 Catan. And then you throw in like Ophidians and shit.
You know what the really cool play to do with the Tesseract Vaults is too? Is when you move it to like midboard and you just basically touch the ruin so you can see over the top of it. But then your opponent put like some weak unit that is like on your expansion that you can just charge and then take it back off the train. There's nothing like more gross than taking like a Titanic on the train, shoot over, and then charge back off. It's like, and with the Tesseract Vault, the rotation effect, because of how it's built, the rotation effect is so massive. You're like, let me spend these 2 points so I can take off 8 inches from my, like positioning.
Also, another huge play with the Tesseract Vault is that it does stand 12 inches high, right? And a lot of the ruins that you're going to be playing in, the guy will be like, hey, by the way, I'm moving these guys into the ruin. And he'll think, they can't be seen. There's no way, right?
Yeah,
and then you Cosmic Precision your Tesseract Vault that's this tall, and it's like, well, it's true line of sight. And I mean...
Dude, he just rolls up there like the Eye of Sauron. Now,
exactly. Oh, by the way, we're rolling all 1s to hit and wound because of the TSK behind him.
With my list, the other gross play was rapid ingressing a monolith and then moving 8 inches, then kicking out Warriors 6.
Yeah.
So
I
you're
mean,
like from a 9-inch drop, you're moving warriors another 15 inches or 14
I
Yeah.
think
inches.
Hypercrypt has a lot of variability in its play. So when you ask what to run in Hypercrypt, you can run a beautifully hard hitting, relatively more seasoned list like Ulyss's. You can run a more basic list
If
like a
you're
monster mash like
yeah,
with the Catan and the heavy hitting stuff, and you can run like infantry heavy with it, where or even locust heavy, where you get that up down with the locusts and they get to reroll all hit rolls because that's relatively lethal in that detachment. But there's a lot of variability in
You
Hypercrypt,
can
so it's very
also
hard to
the Catans is cool
personally.
because the Catans you can run into like 80% of your opponents and they're gonna feel like you're playing a broken army. Then you'll play that one person who has the right like counters the Catan, and you feel like you're playing like the worst army ever. But those
Yeah.
other four, you'll just be like, oh, I've just got that BDE, that big, and it's
Yeah.
like the
The other
Catan
Ignorance
thing-
is gonna just dumpster you.
thing
Unfortunately,
is-
or
that just
high volume lethals,
Yeah.
those two things will mess you up. But if your vault can pick up some of the things that have the high volume lethals, you might be able to like just lose one Satan and then kill stuff back. So I don't know.
The other thing that Rhoda, I don't know if you've heard of these guys, but the Tomb Blades in Hypercrypt.
Two blades. Let me tell you guys.
Yes,
Let me tell you about two
deep
blades.
strike, boom.
Yeah,
I take
Drop
move
them,
two,
drop
move
them 6
boys.
inches and shoot.
Yeah, fired fade. They
Oh,
are
yeah,
good. They're just
interesting.
like good. They could do it at 9 inches too.
Um,
Like, but they got to come out of reserves. So
SA,
Also, Ophidians have 2 OC. That's wild.
yeah, they do. That's really good. It comes up a lot.
Yeah.
SAV, he's going to be doing a duos tournament with a buddy who plays Chaos Knights. Any recommendation for what to look for in a 1,000-point Necron list to complement him?
Yeah, he's the firepower. You're the stand in front of him.
Yep.
So figure that one out. You're going to be running some Wraith Bricks and a CCB.
I think
Sorry, guys, that's
Wraiths
Necrons these days,
and
man.
DDAs
Just,
if just have him run 2 despoilers and you run Wraiths and DDAs.
Yep. No, just Wraiths. I have him run the despoilers. They just
Well, the despoilers have the disadvantage; they don't have good AP, so you need some AP. So yeah,
just take a Triarch Stalker and ignore cover with form.
One of them's AP 2, ignore cover.
Okay, I thought that was the one downside of this.
The ignore cover is like it's either a strat or one of their like malefic surges or something, but they get ignore cover and sustained or whatever.
You should absolutely be running just Wraiths, Scarabs, and CCBs up into space and just be like, yep, they all have OC, they all neg your OC, they blow up in your face, and you have to chew through these before you get to my big buddies in the back line.
Or even a Satan, a Wraiths and a Satan might be not be a bad idea.
Yeah, Wraiths and a Satan.
There you go. Yeah, do Wraiths and a Nightbringer. So if they actually try to rush at your buddies to spoilers, you're like, I got a Nightbringer just sitting here waiting for you.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
AP4, by the way.
Yeah, AP4. Yeah. Fuck you and your 2-up saves.
Yeah.
We're getting close to the end here. Toastbrother comes in with the, it's a cron stream, but how are you getting on with the NIDs? Haven't gotten a NID game in a little bit, mainly because I'm prepping for a big team tournament coming up in like 2 months. And I'm definitely not going to have my NIDs painted in time. I would love to play them in a tournament, but I just, with real life work stuff, it's also my like hobby army. I feel like I'm really trying to take my time with them, but NIDs are kind of in a weird, a weird spot. Kind of remind me of Necrons, a similar way, but like different way, where it's like they are really good right now, but it's like they're just not like like just going undefeated all the time. So
if you're not like Sam Pope,
dude, that list was cool that he was running, man. That was sick. I was like, dang, I wish I owned 80 Termagants, man. 80 Termagants, 30 Gene Stealers, GG, man.
I was listening to them talk about the 10 Gene Stealers going into the Rust Stalkers and only killing like 4 of them.
Yeah, dude, the Termagants,
the
Invasions fleet is crazy.
And they're like -1 to hit in combat too. Like they're -1 to hit in shooting and combat.
Well, because in Invasion, I think because one of the characters I think gives them sus, the Termagants, and they get lethal.
Yeah.
So they get like lethal sus based on like the attachment and the character. And it's like
I think I like Invasion. Yeah.
It's
Subterranean Assault, bro. What? Yeah. You guys aren't even talking about Subterranean Assault right now?
I like the Invasion fleet. The Gene Stealer Invasion fleet.
I love Subterranean, but Invasion is really good.
Zoanthropes, subterranean assault, like just
I know.
teleporting.
Just play Raven Guard.
Yeah.
Raven Guard with sense.
Let's see. We're getting pretty close. Anyone testing out Canoptic with Warriors in 12 race? I know I'm giving it a shot. I don't think it's bad. The problem is that build is just better in Awakened, unfortunately.
Yep.
But
The problem is the characters not being able to like protect them with Reanimate.
It'll still be fun with the Tomb Walkers going in or Tomb Stalkers going in with the Warriors. Like I know you tried it, but I think it'll add a little extra flavor to that list at least.
Yeah.
It's not worth the lethality. You're trying to increase the lethality of your skew list. You're trying to say, hey, I'm trying to make my wraiths re-roll my hit rolls in melee and shooting, and
No. I mean giving the Warriors the Canoptic keyword so they can counter move and get low.
Oh, right. I mean, yeah, but I'm saying that his list he's trying to just give more lethality to that bulky.
Oh yeah.
You really want to just if you're building toward bulk and defense, you want to take the detachment that complements that, and that's Awakened Dynasty.
And that is what I found too. Is like the Doomstalkers just do not do enough damage. Like that, like people could just push like anything they wanted at me, and the Doomstalkers will like chunk down a little bit, but like
AP3 is not good enough.
It's not.
Not
Especially
for
like
players that have cover.
Like imagine like into Victric Honor Guard, I think they kill like maybe one. Like for example, and that's gonna be like maybe one. And that's if they don't like AOC, and that's like you know, they're probably gonna do. So 3 of them to kill 3 Victrix Honor Guard, and then you get hit by 3 Victric Honor Guard, and it's like, it's like
That's what I'm saying. My buddy Tom, I mean, he thinks Victrix are going to be a problem for Crons, and I'm like,
for sure.
No.
I mean,
they're going to be a problem for everybody, right? They're a problem for everybody. Let's get that out of the way. Victrix Honor Guard are undercosted for what they do. We have the best answers. We have 4 damage.
High AP, high damage.
We have 4 damage.
We are situated.
Just roll 6s on your GDAs. I mean,
dude, I was so stoked when it came out too, because I was like reading it and I was like, sweet. It's like Victrix Honor Guard 3 for 130, and I was like, yeah, they did it right. And then they're like 6 for 210. I was like, oh no, that was the problem one. Like, I was like, that 50-point discount for taking 6. Guys, imagine if we got a 50-point discount for taking 6 raids, dude. Like, it's the same concept.
We're in a transition period, right? So there's nothing crazy going on except for the Dragon's Cup, by the way. Let's go with that. But there's nothing crazy going on right now as far as like the tournament scene. Everything's relatively relaxed right now. So they're putting out some stuff. They're like, hey, Ultramarines, go have fun for a little bit. You're a poster boys.
It is the holiday lull.
Yeah. So okay. They right at Christmas time, they're making their poster children really good. No way.
Talker, yeah. They'll probably go up to 240 or 250 within
easily
after they've sold enough models. But
yep.
After Christmas or sometime in December, they'll probably go up to at least 240. And they'll still be good at 240, but they won't be.
They'll still be incredible, I think.
There's still going to be 3 bricks of them at 240.
Yeah, I think you still take 3 up until like at least 260. Yeah,
at least 250.
At 260, you take 2.
Is the break point.
Yeah, at 260, you only take 2.
Only.
Next, getting close to the end here. So, guys, I want to play the Void Dragon because it is my favorite model. I know it is not meta good right now, but if you were to use it in Awakened Dynasty, how would you best utilize the unit?
I would Rapid Ingress hit turn 2.
That's what I was going to say. I think that's your only play, assuming your opponent doesn't have a shit ton of just, like, stupid stuff.
Why the Nightbringer need.
I know, but... Yeah, it's he's tough because of that base size. The base size, like I said, like when Nightbringer goes, it's a -2 to the charge basically because when you have to run around stuff. And the problem with him too, with like just coming in from like a normal reserve, is that like his gun's kind of low range. It's 12-inch range. So like if your opponent's
12 and 18.
It's 18 on the little
on the Voltaic Storm.
And the spear's only 12. Yeah.
Yeah. And the anti-vehicle spear 12.
Yeah, that's something that kills me.
Blast,
that
right?
needs to be longer.
Damage 2, 612.
Oh, it's 612?
And it's Tesla, yeah.
But it's sustained 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't used them in a while.
I know because one time I one-shot like
Melter.
5 Karn brick with him.
Oh, no, dude. It's 712.
Yeah,
Yeah.
7-1-2. Yeah.
7-1-2.
Yeah, okay.
So I mean, you could also just throw him in midboard and like he comes out on turn 2 or turn 3 and tries to deal with something.
Or the same idea as your Nightbringer, where he's just kind of a
Yeah.
heroic. He's just there to heroic.
Yeah.
He's there for that. He's there to be a distraction.
He
I mean,
kills
yeah, you could
Marines
totally-
faster than everyone else.
What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, you could totally run him over like my Nightbringer and my kind of like Star Shatter list, and play him very similarly. It's just you lose 1 or 2 inches of movement if he's trying to hide at one point and then trying to get around whatever he's hiding. So
The best
That's the only
high-end
disadvantage.
competitive stratagem in the game is Rapid Ingress.
yeah,
Well, yeah, but he's not a deep striker, so like you can get screened pretty badly on him.
You could.
Like, so
yeah, like too scared. Two
You're
units.
still,
Two
you're still
units
gonna
are pretty
run him into
scared.
something. You got to run him into something, and you got to get him.
But he's still.
connected.
I mean, the thing with Satanzo too is that if you kind of are able to bully midboard, it helps too. It's just he's not quite as scary versus anything that's not vehicle than a Nightbringer is. But
I'm
I
not
get
running a Catan in Awakened Dynasty right now, unless it's the Nightbringer.
Yeah, but but hey, I understand if it's a cool model, you want to play a cool model. Like
Mhm.
I think, especially if you do have if you have, I will say the Catans when you're near a reroll ones, whether that's in Star Shatter and you're using the enhancement, or you're near Silent King, like you're cutting out a lot of their fail points, and
They're
especially with him with the
incredibly
reroll
lethal.
ones, the Tesla is really good too. So like because you're already at 100% hit rate, so yeah, I would consider running him with either the reroll ones, like a Scorpion with the reroll ones, or with Silent King and pushing forward. And a Catan and Silent King with -1 damage are hard to get rid of.
Scorpion can't carry the reroll ones. You gotta take the.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But,
yeah.
but
But you can
he's
just
talking
take
about an
that,
Awakened Dynasty anyway.
Oh, was he just talking Awakened specifically?
Yeah, well, he said
Oh.
Awakened Dynasty specifically.
Yeah, so only the king then.
Yeah, just King. Yeah, but it's I think you.
I'm still
I think,
Rapid
I think
Ingressing him.
you depending on what you're playing. Yeah. I think if you know you're gonna be fighting over midboard, you run him up the midboard and he's a counter punch on turn 2 or turn 3. And I think if you're playing against like a shooty army like guard or something like that maybe can't guards can screen, like Tau would be a great rapid ingress for Tau. Like Tau.
You also have to remember that, like, while you're playing the Void Dragon right now, if you're playing into a predominantly vehicle meta, the Void Dragon is going to perform phenomenally for you, right? So you have to remember that if you go into that Tyranids matchup, if you go into the World Eaters matchup, if you go into anything that doesn't have those vehicles in it, you're already handicapping yourself, and you have to accept that fact that your 300-point model is now not as effective as it could be.
Yeah.
And the thing that sucks is like the Nightbringer is not that much worse. Like the fall off versus vehicles of Void Dragon versus Nightbringer is like very marginal. Like it's very like the the Void Dragon has a tiny lead into vehicles, but the Nightbringer has such a heavy lead in everything else. But again, cool model. So it may be.
I think the main thing too is like making sure you get that heal. Because if you can get like 1 or 2 heals off on him, like that's actually the more important thing. Because like the Nightbringer's like AOE, I don't know, I don't think I've ever had it go off. Like I don't think I've ever rolled a 4 up on it. So like it's actually a rule that like works, and it's like not line of sight dependent. So like even in the World Eaters matchup, as long as you can like get around like one of their rhinos, which their rhino is going to be in midboard probably. So at least you can give him the old you know, like the
That's why I think the Catans are like such a good like heroic intervention target, just because you'll take some damage in your opponent's turn, you'll get to heal a little bit, and then potentially heal some more, and then if you're playing Star Shatter, you can go and drop on an objective and heal some more. But
also, just in case this play does ever come up for your Awakened list, the best play you could probably do for him is try to shove him as your first thing in your movement phase and bait out an Overwatch of a threat unit that might Overwatch, like a Repulsor, because at the end of your movement phase, you do get to get that the reanimate protocol. So you can bait that absorb and then take it right back from them.
Oh yeah. And with a techno you can heal him too. So
right. So if you can bait out the Overwatch with the from a repulsor or something that's big, that's a vehicle, and still get into range, because you can advance and shoot with 1 unit in Awakened. That's a potential play there that you should watch out for yourself as a potential, hey, that's a good play to keep in my back pocket. I'm going to bait this Overwatch out because my boy Dragon's full. You're going to do 3 to 4 damage to him. I'm going to absorb 2 back, and I'm going to kill that vehicle.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I like it. Getting close to the end here, kind of like run through these pretty quickly here. So, guy has played around with Locust Lore, 3 triple emitic heavy destroyers and Star Shatter. Thoughts of it as a tech. It's solid. I think the problem is I think that combo is still 265, 275 points if you're running the ignore cover enhancement off the Lord. And it's when you're talking about that point cost, unfortunately, just DDAs do it better.
And again, it's depends on meta, but yeah, if you don't have the fallback and shoot for them, then they get touched by
anything.
A 3-man Scarab's probably actually put them out of commission for 3 turns.
Bro, they're not killing 10 cultists.
Yeah,
if you touch them melee.
If they bring that +1 to wound strat back down to 1 CP, we can have a different conversation. But
for sure,
until that happens,
I'm sad every time. Makes me
It's
cry
just the
because I got
tempo.
that one LVO where I got to run full power Star Shatter, and I was it was so good. It was so good.
If the template size was a lot smaller than a DDA, you could have room for it. But because it's the same size as a DDA, it costs more points, and it's either as lethal or less lethal.
But I will say I've played around with the enigmatics. I think they are interesting. It's just like I said, if you have to be within 18 inches of something, and then if you get touched by anything, they're just done. So
I actually kind of like.
maybe,
I kind of like 2 units of 2 more than 1 unit of 3 with the Lord.
Yeah.
Because I feel like most of the time, 3 is more than you need to wipe a unit of guard. Assuming you have ignore cover, so we're gonna need to try our stalker in this equation, but we don't mind taking the stalker anyway. And 2 units of 2 gives you enough to take it down. It's slightly more durable than you expect it to be. So a lot of times that guy lives. That second one lives. Because you don't put enough into them. And then you can be boom, boom, kill 2 10-mans a guard. And those are the things that kind of can be annoying, or you can split fire a 2-man into Eldar, because if they're 5-man Eldar, you just kill them both. So
you kill T3 stuff for sure.
Yeah, I kind of like 2 units of 2 if I'm thinking of that 200-ish price point. And then you're also not putting a Lord out, and you're not giving them a lot of points if they come because then they're oh, this is a 230 point unit, or 260 point unit, right?
Yeah, it's 265, and then if you're running cover, it's 275.
And so if you put 2 of them on both sides of the map, then all of a sudden they're not getting really good value splitting into both of them, and they're still T6.
They only got a couple.
And usually, one thing I did like in Star Shatter, especially when you're running the King, is even in the early game, if you have one of those Locust Destroyers with the Emitics, just even one. So 2 is really great too, but having sometimes just one,
even one, it's
still 12 shots, and then you could just do the indirect with the other 12, and a lot of times pick up an early game scoring piece for 55 points.
I like solo Locust heavies, both the Destroyer and the Animatics. So because I think at 55 points they're still cheap enough. If they just need to be an action monkey, they can be, and they don't draw out defensive strats either, which is nice. So. Or they do, and then you're happy your opponent used it on them. So.
Yeah.
The only viability that a full brick of Locust has right now is in the Hypercrypt one, where they get to reroll the hit rolls, or something along those lines.
Awaken works because you have the strat that does the same thing. At half range, and you want to be half range anyway. So.
Okay, so if you can find a way to get them to reroll all their hit rolls, whether that be on an objective marker, and good players are not going to put the units you want to put that 250 point model.
They're not restricted.
Locust heavies wouldn't be. Yeah.
Oh, Locust heavies. Okay, look, I thought you were talking about Locust.
Yeah. So the Awaken's pretty cool because I think I did the math.
You got the Veil.
Equals out to 52 attacks with Veil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nice. Or 52 hits rather, from 36 attacks, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty strong.
Strength 6, 1/1, and if you can get ignore cover, they are very close to being interesting. Yeah. But again, it's the second they get touched by anything, they're basically dead. So that's the problem. So if you can get around that somehow,
you take the Lord with the knife.
Yeah, you do. So he can kill some small stuff, but yeah, I think I played an LVO. I played a Necron that had that unit, and I got the Scorpic Lord into him, and he couldn't kill the Scorpic Lord over 5 turns. So
with the knife.
with the knife, the knife couldn't kill the Scorpic Lord
Right.
over.
Yeah, he's not killing. They're not killing elite infantry. They're not killing.
Yeah.
The stuff that people are taking and they're trying to put into those, they're not killing.
Yeah. So that ended it for him with that unit, and so they were
It's
basically
just too big of a footprint right now to take it in groups. That's why you take them solo for objectives and to
like I said,
blink that 6 damage or
solo either the flat 6 or the 12 shots. I think there's play for both of those. And like I said, if your opponent doesn't have good targets for it, they just become action monkeys, which is still you're paying a 15-point premium than your Locust Destroyer, but you're actually getting some more viability in their offense. So I think it's worth it if you have the points. But
you guys can take the next question.
Well, we have I missed one. The Trark Stalker is still worth it in Star Shatter. Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. He's still durable for his points. Like his durability is still really good for 110 points.
He's very
and it's a good option. If you have the
is-
model, it's a great option to throw into Star
Although
Shatter.
I think I'm the weird one out. I like the Gauss weapon over the Flamer.
No, I like the Gauss too.
Yeah.
Can't you-
It
it's
depends on the
variable, right?
role you want for it.
Yeah, it's very.
I like.
But you
the
get
Gauss.
you get 24-inch range and 6 shots instead.
Yeah. Better for killing Marines and stuff.
It's variable.
Yeah, the last one really is with Decker about AdMech.
Yep.
You know, it's just a rough one, man.
Until they change points.
It's just bad.
Yeah, until they change points, you might as well shake your opponent's hand and go up and smoke in a good.
Not good for Necrons, really at all.
Ironically, I think the Rust Stalkers are the shittier part of that.
Oh, bro, their boats hurt. Their Rust Stalkers hurt. Their
their Chicken Walker.
punch
I don't. I feel like we win the battle versus their shooting. It's just the fact that they have really fast little
They can
durable
just
dudes.
tag us. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like they'll just tag our whole army.
Durable.
Yeah.
Dude, but like on average with the new updates, like even Siegler's list with a 3x3 chicken, like I feel like 3 chickens almost pick up a DDA by themselves.
They get
the one thing
reroll everything.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say that
sustain.
the one thing that's nice on those chickens though is they are T7, which all of our strength 14 still does really well into them.
I mean, if we can survive.
Yeah, but so they can trade better because our elite is more cost. It's costs more. So like when they trade with us with those small trades, by the end of it, we don't have anything to trade left.
And they're just dumping so much OC on us. Like them
Right.
being able to just put 10 OC on us is like not something that we can handle because like what are we
I think
gonna
Warrior
do?
Jank is the only way.
Warrior Jank is actually probably pretty good.
Warrior Jank.
But they have a bunch of battle shocks too that make.
Yeah, they do. They have so many battle shocks that I remember that because like at the last I was actually worried about them at the last of VCW, and so I asked GW how the Royal Wardens like click off battle shock interacts with their battle shock because they're both at the start of a phase, and GW did respond and say that if they both take place at the start of the phase, then you don't get them like you can still unbattle shock. Because I was like, is this just like useless against? Yeah.
If you're the active player though, right?
No, you can you can reactively do it since it would be in their turn, and most of the interactions are at the start of a phase. So you can use it reactively at the start of the phase to cancel out their battle shock at the start of the phase because you don't leave the start of the phase.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you don't instantly leave the start of the phase. Yeah. Yeah, because otherwise it's like, oh, so I can just like not use mine ever. Like it just can't interact with this other startup phase like rule.
Right.
It's like a weird interaction that happens with those infiltrators, but it does matter, especially in Awakened, because I was running that at last the BCW, and I was like, I don't want my Xeris to just get battle shocked and die. Like, so
not good.
But then it never came up because I didn't play him.
It's a rough one. I'd have to say that's like one of the top. Like that's definitely worse than World Eaters.
It's hard to answer how to fight the S tier team, right? It's like okay, so how do you answer the S tier army in this game? Well, right now, in most cases, the S tier army is the reason is that there's not a lot of armies that have an answer for that.
Yeah.
Particular.
I think my list beats AdMech if I go first.
And you hear it here first, folks. We're gonna use the Hypercrypt monolith build for AdMech.
No, not the Hypercrypt. He's like, no, not that one.
Okay.
If I can get the Ghost Ark up there and bait an initial unit with the Ghost Ark and get the trading going, I think I like my odds, to be honest.
But you don't like. What about the whips? Particle whip. Those are 2 damage.
Particle
Particle
whip.
Whip. Yeah.
The
Particle whip.
It's 3d6 blasts, dude. Unfortunately, it's not 3 different blasts. But if it was 3 different blasts, it would that would be a whole different weapon.
You know what? Give me Seraptic Heavy Constructs with the Blast Devastatings. I bet you that takes that care of Admech.
That 40s. I like that 4d6 gun on those.
Yeah. 4d6 Blast Devs. Let's go.
Blast devs with like strength like 18 or something, right?
Yeah, strength 10. I think strength 10.
The
other one
really
strength 20. Yeah, the other one strength 24, AP -4, D6 +4 damage. I think it's strength 10 or 12. I think it's strength 10.
I'm looking right now.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
devs.
OC. A lot
it is strength
of
10.
OC.
But it's
AP3 with devs, right?
Yep. Flat 4.
the nice part is it's 2d6 shots though. So if you roll really crappy on the shots, you can really like the reroll on shots on that thing is huge.
Good value.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, beautiful.
So I mean, that and Hypercrypt, you pick one up each turn and just play around with it. And the power of a deadly demise is actually real. Right, 17.5% chance you just drop that puppy 6 inches away from him and say, "You want to move closer? I might explode."
I might explode.
The fun part is dropping dropping a monolith right next to your construct, and then pulling wraiths out underneath the construct, and then heroicing the race into whatever charges the construct.
Don't mess with me or my sons ever again.
Yeah, these are my baby constructs. Underneath.
Give Seraptic Heavy Construct.
Did the Seraptic stand over a monolith? Is it big enough?
I don't think so. No, but like I said, you can kick out 6 race underneath it.
Not even close. It's not even close.
Not even close.
You can fit like Imatech directly under a Seraptic Heavy Construct, and you can just like stand. But that's illegal for the record. Don't do that, guys.
Any closing remarks? Anything?
Day 5 of Onlycrons, episode 5 of saying give Seraptic Heavy Construct the Canoptic keyword.
And make it 500 points so you can go in reserve.
Yeah. And deep strike.
How many points is it?
Like 510. It's like, or 520. Yeah, whatever. It's slightly above the 500 mark, which is.
But if it's like as big as it is, would it even be able to come out of reserves and do anything?
I don't know.
No, but you can rapid ingress it to avoid that because it can't shoot in the turn it comes in if it's too big to come in from Strat reserves.
Sure, do that.
And it's not your turn if you're rapid ingressing.
What? Rhoda, you want to plug you got your GT coming up?
Oh yeah. I have a December 13th GT coming up. It is for undefeated champions only. You had to apply. It's a free tournament entry wise, but to apply, you had to email me a tournament where you won or a GT where you podiumed. And the prize is going to be 500 cash for the winner. And then we're going to be giving out about $1,500 worth of prizes that day as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You still have spots available, and if people wanted to get, where at in the country are you?
We're in Naples, Florida. So unfortunately, we're 32 out of 32 at the moment. Right. Next year, we are planning on doubling the prize pool, so we'll probably be giving away about $3,000 next year at the tournament. Nice. If you do want to apply, you'll be looking out in the Naples area for Twin Dragon games. We'll be streaming it next year. Hopefully, getting in contact with a couple people, streaming it next year, and having some pretty big names down there. So it's going to be pretty awesome. Definitely highly recommend tuning into it eventually.
Nice, dude.
Very cool, man. Very cool.
I'm gonna keep clubbing some baby seals at RTTs.
Yeah.
And I don't mean
it's an exciting time though with the new model and the new detachments. I'm excited. I'm super stoked. I hope our model comes out quickly and not like next year. I'm like chomping at the bit to play.
Steve, are you even bringing an army, or do you just want to borrow some?
I thought I was gonna borrow yours.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Because I need to buy 2 Tesseract vaults from you, so I'm gonna buy 2 Tesseract vaults, and those are gonna be in my luggage so that I can.
Easy enough, brother. You just send me your list.
That was my plan. That was my plan.
Yeah, the
Send me the list, I'll have it in the store.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, the T-Vaults, man. Crazy enough, I've had 6 people ask me for T-Vaults in the last, month.
I've run 3 before in a list, and it's hilarious because that
Yeah,
all
it's
that
so
indirect,
funny.
the indirect
Yeah.
shooting is so funny, and your opponent is just like, oh crap, now what do I do? Like
They don't
3
realize until it's too late.
3 Tesseract
Yeah.
bolts and like a Satan or 2 are really funny because they're like your only option is to run at them, and yeah,
1 TSK, 3 TVs, 1 TSK. Keep them
Yeah.
all kind of within that
you
6
need
reroll
the
ones.
you need the king, man, and then just run phalanx and you're chilling.
Hypercrypt. Just trust me. Hypercrypt.
Yeah, I don't know.
Put
I
one
think
out
that
each turn on the center objective. Yeah.
I think it's way more spicier in phalanx.
For a while, I had TOs that agreed that with the Tesseract Vault, I could deploy them half off the table, and then they would still fit within the 6 inches, so that they could actually shoot in the turn they came in from reserve, not the deep strike.
Wow, that's
Well, because it has the base. I mean,
that's the
that
base.
makes
Well,
sense to me.
You could situate them that just right.
Yeah, but you
they're
measure
within
to the
6
hole.
inches, but then they're off. I've had TOs go back and forth on that, and for the times that I did where they were allowed to do that, it was a lot of fun because then I could run 2.
Because I could blast people.
Yeah, it was like could just come off the weird parts of the board edge, touch some little piece of terrain, be like, "Hey, I can now see through that terrain." You know.
Well, they did
yeah.
did FAQ that where since the T Vault has a base, it can hang over the board edge.
Is there
No,
FAQ for that?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I thought they FAQ'd it the other direction where
No.
since you measure to the hole, now you have to have the entirety of the base on the map itself.
Yeah,
No.
you
Have
can
to
fit
be
the
more
base on the map.
research.
Yeah,
The
the
problem
thing
is they have a rule that says aircraft-like models, and
it's
the
because
Tesseract
the
Vault
T
is
Vault has a
weird
base.
because it has that like aircraft base kind of situation going,
I just
and
don't
it's
understand
how
find-
because
TOs interpret that. But maybe that's something we research for next one.
I was just under the impression because you measure to the hole, you must have the hole on the map.
No, because it says actually hull or base. It actually
Right,
says or.
but yeah, but when you measure to the whole of something, you have to have the whole of it on the map.
No, yeah, but the specific rule does say for when you're asking about the aircraft like because there's a rule for that specifically, and it says hull or base in that scenario. But
I'm hanging my Tesseract Vault off every base from now.
dude,
on.
it's
Y'all ain't
all you gotta
even seen
do,
nothing
like
yet.
the stream is like over, mention Tesseract Vault, and then it's like everyone has to argue for another 30 minutes. Like,
Dude, it's
we're not
really
gonna-
bad. Right. Tesseract Vault's such a goofy model. It's like the Triarch Stalker, no base. Like
people
I'm gonna
can't.
dangle this leg over a 2-inch feature.
The best part is too is people can't they can't box you out of objectives because you're just like I'll just go over the top of you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just stand on them.
Okay, so it specifically says I found it here. So
Oh,
we can choose how we want to interpret this, but I think they also added like an FAQ I'll find somewhere else. But it specifically says some large models, typically aircraft, have wings and other parts that extend significantly beyond their base. Such models can overhang in deployment zone if it is not possible to set them up otherwise. But when setting them up, their base must still be wholly within the deployment zone.
Their base must still be
Just their base.
So you can have your Tesseract Vault 6 inches out of your deployment zone.
Yeah,
From what
as
it's
long
like.
as it's in the deployment zone.
As long as its base is in the.
Is in the deployment zone, right? Yeah.
But what about off of a board edge? Like off of like the edge of the map.
I'll send in our group chat
Yes,
I've
please.
done research on this before. I'll show you the research. There's still no definitive answers as far as
There's no definitive answer, really. They
No,
haven't
I
covered that
think
yet?
they there's an there's definitely an
I'll
FAQ on
There's
this.
gotta be something.
There's an
I know there's
FAQ
an
from
FAQ.
GW.
I know there's an FAQ about hanging off the side of the board edge where you can't draw line of sight, but other people can draw line of sight to it.
they can draw a line of sight to you, but you don't get the benefit of the drawn line of sight.
Yeah,
Which is sometimes
I
a
know it
negative,
exists.
but
Yeah, it's like it doesn't really matter. You're like, I just want him to be here. Like you're like, whatever, shoot me. I'm a Tesseract Vault. Like it'll be
Yeah.
fine.
you're gonna see me anyway.
Yeah,
wasn't-
because
Yeah, you're gonna
I mean,
find me anyway.
if the only thing you could see was this little part hanging off the edge,
By
then
the
go
way,
ahead.
me and my knight buddy came up with the best thing because one of his detachments you can give a knight that rules that it always has a cover save, and so we're gonna try and equip the knight to holding a tree, and so he's like because he's got cover save, so he's hiding behind a tree. So
The whole time.
Nice.
it's either cover or stealth. Maybe it's stealth. I don't know, but that's on our.
That would be even funnier if it's stealth though, because you're like, I can't see him.
Yeah, I think it was.
Sorry.
I think it is stealth. And so yeah, we're
Yeah.
like having like hiding behind a tree, but.
At the tournament that I did the pretty well out with my monster mash hypercrypt with the Tesseract Vault, I was restricted to not have my Tesseract Vault hang off of the map whatsoever.
Yeah, I know. I've had people tell me like with DDAs and stuff like that. Usually it's like they're like scooting down the edges and TOs will like walk by and I'll be like, oh yeah, let me just tilt
It says point blank
It never is on purpose.
It says point blank in the movement phase. You're allowed to overhang the board edge.
In the movement phase, or like while you're moving, or like
while you're moving, while you're moving, you're allowed to exceed the board edge. But when you're finished moving, I don't believe you're allowed to.
I'm pretty sure you. I don't know. I guess we'll have to find that out.
All right.
For next time.
I don't have
for next time, guys.
I haven't had to learn this.
We're ending
on me the next time we all hang out.
On a spicy note, we'll get it. But yo, if y'all are still around, it was a little bit longer this time, but hopefully that's okay. Appreciate you guys sending the questions, and not sure when we'll be back next. You know, maybe when they drop another model in December, we'll come back and talk about that
next
one too.
Week.
Yeah, next week. But
seriously, right now.
Appreciate y'all sticking around. Appreciate the support as always. Happy holidays, all that good stuff, and we will catch you sometime soon. Peace, y'all.
See you.
Have a good one, boys and girls.
Awesome, guys.